When the Kansas City Royals made the postseason in 2014, it was the first time they'd done such a thing since they won the World Series in 1985. The people of Missouri and Kansas forgot baseball even had a postseason. Well, at least Royals fans did. Cardinals fans in Missouri knew all about postseason baseball, but they probably forgot the Royals existed. So you had Cardinals fans who forgot their neighbor Royals existed as a baseball team, and then Royals fans who were aware of their own team, but just not aware that the playoffs existed in general. The Royals were just a pretty miserable and forgettable existence for a long time, especially after George Brett called it a career. And for 30 years, the Royals were deep in the depths of irrelevance until 2014 rolled around, and they finally made the playoffs after winning 89 games. It was an unforgettable and improbable ride despite just barely losing in the end in Game 7 of the World Series, but they'd get right back up, win 95 more games in 2015, taking home the division and going completely all the way this time, finishing the job and winning the World Series. Those 2014 and 2015 Royals teams were fun, but not in the typical way a baseball team is fun or successful. Their starting rotation wasn't necessarily anything special, but it was a group of 5 to 6 guys that gave you enough innings to hand it off to their really good bullpen. As for the offense, they weren't anything crazy sexy there either. In fact, the Royals were 17th in team OPS in 2014 and 10th in 2015. They weren't home run hitting gods, finishing dead last in total home runs in 2014 and 24th in 2015. It wasn't a powerful or intimidating offense necessarily, but they put the ball in play. For example, they were also dead last in total strikeouts in 2015. This is fascinating. They had a total of 973 strikeouts as a team that year, and the team closest to them at number 29, the Braves, with over 1,100 strikeouts as a team. They put the ball in play, played small ball, caused their opponents to make mistakes, kept the line moving, and that's how the Royals offense ran. An offense combined with their pitching style that was able to take down far superior rosters that had better starting rotations and offensive players on paper, something Johnny Gomes, a veteran who was a part of that 2015 championship team, even acknowledged during the championship parade.
Hey, guess what? Cy Young winner. Not on our team. Beat him. Rookie of the year. Not on our team. We beat him. MVP of the whole league. Sorry, guys. Not on our team. But we beat that guy, too.
As great as all that was, something that resulted in a championship, the 2014-2015 Royals weren't built to last, and they didn't. They didn't even make the postseason in 2016, the year after the championship, or 2017. Eric Hosmer then left and signed a big contract with the Padres. Other guys eventually started to get traded and leave town, and it's just been back to irrelevance for baseball in Kansas City. They weren't going to be a dynasty, and they never were. The Royals have never been a team known for spending a ton to keep their players, but it's not even that. Even the core group of the 2014 and 2015 Royals World Series teams who ended up on other teams weren't great. Eric Hosmer is looked at as one of the worst contracts of all time. Padres fans despised him. Alex Gordon was already nearing the end of his career and was a terrible hitter from 2016 through the end when he retired in 2020. Lorenzo Cain ended up being really good with the Brewers, but it didn't last too long and he's retired now. Alcides Escobar was never a good hitter. Pretty terrible, actually, and still is. I mean, the Royals front office was able to put together a winning team, but not one that mirrored the type of longevity teams like the Astros, Dodgers, and Braves have had since they started winning. Those teams, for example, are built and continue to be built to last as a potential dynasty, whereas the Royals faded quickly. Guys who already weren't superstars regressed, went to other teams. The Royals have now been rebuilding for years, yet you look at this team and it seems like no progress has been made. They continue to be terrible, irrelevant, are coming off yet another last place finish after losing over 100 games, and for the last 8 years overall, it's been looking like the Royals are in the middle of another 30-year drought. 22 more to go. But wait, JJ Picollo, the executive vice president of baseball operations / general manager of the Royals, has said, hold on just a second, and has turned the direction of this team's decision making into one we haven't seen in a while, maybe ever. And all of a sudden, we might be going from a really bad and uninspiring Royals team, something we saw in 2023 and have been seeing for more than half a decade now, to a potential winner. Really quick, if you want your team to win the World Series in 2024, hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet. If not, the blame for your team not winning will be on you. Remember that. Typically, when you look at a team as dreadful as the 2023 Kansas City Royals, it doesn't seem like there's much you can do to immediately start winning the next year. They only won 56 games. Like, how on earth do you improve by about 30 and get yourself in a realistic position for the playoffs? Well, there's two things at play here. The Royals happen to be in the American League's Central Division, a division that also happens to be the weakest. The Minnesota Twins, the team that just won the Central this past year, did so by winning 87 games, the least out of any division-winning team. The average number of wins of the other 5 division-winning teams was about 97.5 wins, so the team at the very top of that division is on the weaker side in terms of comparing them to other division winners. The next highest winning teams in the division were the lousy Tigers and Guardians with 78 and 76 wins respectively. The 4th place White Sox won 61 games, and then the 56 win Royals. So you have an overall really non-threatening group of teams that the Royals are a part of. Even the team at the top is not that impressive. And then you factor in that same Minnesota Twins team, the one that won 87 games and the division in 2023, has actually only downgraded, if anything, this offseason. One of the big reasons the Twins were successful in 2023 was because of Sonny Gray, the man who finished second in the Cy Young voting, and he just signed with the Cardinals. Kenta Maeda, not quite as good, but another starting pitcher who can be solid, signed with the Tigers, and one of the Twins' best relievers last year, Emilio Pagan, signed with the Reds. Now, you could look at a guy like Carlos Correa and the bad offensive season he had. He's due to be better, but you get the point. The Twins, who were already the weakest playoff team in the American League and actually in all of baseball, have only lost some of their talent and good pitching this offseason while simultaneously not adding anything noteworthy. The White Sox are in full rebuild mode at this point. They really went from dynasty expectations in 2021 to tearing everything apart, so that's them. Cleveland seems to have no interest in winning, which is unfortunate. The only reason they even have Jose Ramirez is because he chose to take less money to stay, and the team has only gone on to trade some players while also not spending much. The biggest free agent signing they've made is Austin Hedges. Nothing against that guy, he actually seems really cool, but that tells you everything about their offseason plans. You then have the Tigers, a team that's basically in the same boat as the Royals, actually. They haven't made the postseason in almost a decade, they've been rebuilding for most of this period, haven't seen much progress, although they did win a lot more games than the Royals last year. They have shown some promise and potential to become contenders again, but it's still not remotely close to anything certain. There's nothing that intimidating about them. So the Royals see this, they see how weak their competition is and are now taking advantage of it. The first notable thing the Royals did was sign Will Smith. No, not the weirdo Will Smith, the pitcher Will Smith, to a 1-year deal. Now, it's not necessarily notable because Smith is great. He's not, although he does have potential to help out any team in bullpen, but it's notable because look at the last 3 teams Smith has been on. 2021, the Braves. 2022, he was traded to the Astros. 2023, the Rangers. Sensing a pattern here? That dude is the common denominator of 3 straight World Series winning teams. The Royals are next, baby. It was a funny joke when the signing happened, but looking back, the Royals were just setting the table. They started by getting the good luck charm and have only gone on to be one of the top spending teams of the offseason. A few days later, the Royals signed pitcher Seth Lugo to a 2-year deal worth $45 million with a 3rd-year player option. Now, is that crazy money? No, not really in a general sense, but Lugo was a guy several teams were in on. He had been a good reliever his entire career up until 2023, where he became a full-on starter for the Padres, and he was really good. It'll be interesting to see how that continues, but Lugo's a solid pitcher and there's a reason why he had a good market. They then signed Chris Stratton to a 1-year deal with a player option for a 2nd, a solid reliever who was good for the Rangers after getting traded there this past season. They brought in Michael Wacha a few days later after that for $32 million, another solid starting pitcher, so they've added a lot of pitching, but then they brought in a hitter, Hunter Renfroe, for 2024, who has a player option for 2025. Renfroe is the perfect option for any team in the Royals position, for a team looking to shock some people. He's way cheaper than so many other hitters, while also having the potential to be productive. It worked in 2021 for the Red Sox, helping them become a playoff team. It worked in 2022 for a Brewers team that didn't make the playoffs, but Renfroe helped them stay in the race with another solid year. He then got traded again to the Angels before getting traded again to the Reds. Now he's a Royal. So Renfroe started with the Padres in 2016, stayed with them for 4 seasons, which seems like a miracle because since 2020, he has played for 5 different teams and just signed with his 6th. So he's being passed around as much as you know what, I'm not going to make a joke there, but whatever team he's been on, he has been making a positive on-field impact other than this past season. He struggled a bit more, but he also had a bad year in 2020, a really bad year, when the Red Sox then picked him up, and I just went over the 2 straight solid seasons he had in 2021 and 2022, so this is another good low-risk, high-reward signing for Kansas City, something they've been doing a lot of. So it's not like they're out here signing Yamamoto and Cody Bellinger, Matt Chapman. They're not going crazy on the number of dollars or years, and they're not getting any stars, but for the Royals, this still means something. Seth Lugo for $45 million means something. Michael Wacha for $32 million means something. The fact that they've spent more than 25 other teams in baseball at the time of this video video means something. Spending over $100 million, which is far more than anyone else in an already weak division that in multiple ways has gotten weaker. That actually means a whole lot, and they also have some potential already on the roster. After having a barely above average rookie season in 2022, Bobby Witt Jr. finished top 7 in MVP voting in 2023. He played in almost every game, hit 30 home runs, and he's fast as hell, running his way into the most triples in all of baseball last year with 11. And although he did get caught stealing the most times in baseball with 15, he still stole 49 bases. So he's an aggressive runner, something I figure he'll continue and also something the Royals as a team will probably emphasize. In fact, the Royals as a team were 3rd in stolen bases in 2023 and 2nd in caught stealing. So they could and probably will keep that going, being aggressive on the bases and forcing mistakes to happen like the championship Royals teams did. The Royals offense overall won't be a juggernaut, but it has some names that could provide somewhat of an impact. The most Italian man in baseball, Vinny Pasquantino, is another young hitter with potential. As for the pitching, the 25-year-old Cole Reagans is expected to be good. Brady Singer is coming off of a bad year, but has shown he can be successful in the big leagues. So there's nothing here that pops out as anything crazy. A lot has to go right for this team to work, but there is potential here. So are the Royals postseason bound? I don't know. The odds and predictions will say no, just like they did for the 2023 Diamondbacks or the 2021 Giants. 2 teams that beat the odds in a big way, and 2 teams that are also in the same division as the Dodgers. A team that wins 100 games annually in their sleep. See what I'm getting at here? The Royals aren't nearly some favorite, even after all these moves, and even after they do whatever else they have up their sleeve this offseason. But they are in the weakest division in baseball. The Twins are already the weakest heavy favorite ever, and they've only lost talent this offseason, and everyone else either sucks or could be a toss-up, just like the Royals. It's a very winnable division in theory. Won't be easy, obviously, but credit to the Royals for seemingly recognizing all of this and making some smart moves, even if those moves cost a little more than the organization has typically been spending over the years. And it'll be interesting to see what they keep on doing. Let me know what you think. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.